Well, hello there everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Try New Things, where I brought you down to the garden for the final time this year. I just got done cleaning up the rest of the garden, putting my hoses away, cleaning up the old vines from the pumpkins. Season is over. It is the beginning of November here in Kentucky, and growing season's been pretty much done now for a couple weeks. The last things I picked were the carrots and beets. Actually, I just this morning planted some more garlic, so I'm all done planting my garlic for next year. But what I wanted to do today is take a little bit of time and tell you about the garden season that we had here in Henry County, Kentucky, Zone 6B. It really was a mixed bag of success and failure this year. I had really high hopes for this year over last year. And when the numbers sum up, we did do better, but not as much better as I had hoped. And there's probably a variety of reasons for that. Mostly, I'm still learning, just like maybe you're still learning at home, on how to grow the most effective garden, how to sequence things so that you can get multiple crops within a season. But anyway, we're going to dive right into it. We're going to go vegetable by vegetable, and I'm going to talk about how we did versus how I hoped we'd do. All right, we're going to start with green beans. This year we grew 44.25 pounds of green beans. Last year, 24.75. So our green beans did fantastic this year. That's one of the things that did better than expected. And I can tell you that 44 pounds is more than we need for green beans. Our freezer is full. We'll probably scale that back a little bit for next year. The next thing was beets. So last year I grew 2 pounds of beets. Had a really hard time getting beets to grow. Ended up with 2 pounds. This year, 82.5 pounds of beets. And I think we ended up somewhere around 50 liters, which would be what, 12, 13 gallons of pickled beets. So next year, believe it or not, we're going to target around the same thing, somewhere around 75 pounds of beets. We love our beets. Next comes the cantaloupe. Last year, 24 pounds of cantaloupe. This year, 38 pounds of cantaloupe. That was about right. Carrots, 2.5 pounds last year. I failed my first time planting carrots. They never started. I failed my second time planting carrots. They never started. My third time, I let them grow right up until like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, when I finally harvested them, giving them as much time as I could, given it was my third attempt. But we ended up with 27 pounds of carrots, which was awesome. And I think next year we'll target around about the same 25 pounds of carrots. Now, cucumbers. Cucumbers last year, well, let me stop you. Our family loves cucumbers. Loves cucumbers. Last year we did 61 pounds of cucumbers. This year I had a lot of trouble with the cucumbers. We ended up with just under 39 pounds, which was a disappointment. We really want to be up in the 50 to 70 pounds of cucumbers again next year. Lettuce, I grew a little bit of lettuce. Takes a lot of lettuce to weigh anything. But I ended up with 1.2 pounds of lettuce this year, none last year. I'm actually growing lettuce in the barn, inside, under grow lights right now. My hope is to grow it all winter. We'll see how that turns out. Onions. Another thing you probably can't have too much of is onions. Last year we grew 15.5 pounds of onions, which we thought was pretty good. This year, 56 pounds of onions, and ended up selling some of the onions. But yeah, we're going to run out here just after Christmas of onions that we grew this year. So next year, another 50 to 80 pounds of onions, what we'll be targeting. Onions did really good this year. Okra, first time growing it. 5.5 pounds of okra. We didn't figure out that we liked okra, so we probably won't grow okra next year. Now, if you know anything about growing peas, it takes a heck of a lot of peas, a lot of rows of peas to get a lot of snapped or shelled peas. And we ended up shelling all of our peas. Last year we thought we did really good. We ended up with 4 pounds of shelled peas. This year, just over 9 pounds of shelled peas, which we've got a bunch of peas in the freezer. It's not going to last us all year. Maybe we'll try to grow even more peas next year, but our peas did excellent. Peppers, also excellent. Last year, 3 pounds of peppers. This year, 34.7 pounds of peppers. Now, nearly 35 pounds of pepper sounds great, but believe it or not, the vast majority of that was cayenne. We've got enough ground cayenne and pepper flakes to do us, I'm guessing, for 3 years. So my plan is to grow another 40 to 50 pounds of peppers next year. Less on the cayenne side, more on the sweet pepper side, or bell pepper side. Another thing that did a lot better this year was potatoes. 63 pounds last year, 98 pounds this year. I'd like that 150 pounds next year. We go through potatoes like crazy. We still got a little bit of potatoes left, but again, we may make it to just past Christmas. Pumpkins. Next up is pumpkins. 50 pounds of pumpkins last year, 53 pounds of pumpkins this year. That's probably about right. We cut up the pumpkins, we bagged them, we froze them. It's great for baking. That's about all the pumpkins we can handle, unless we want to try to plant some more for jack-o'-lanterns and that kind of thing. But I'm very pleased with our pumpkins this year. Rhubarb just starting to take, and we only got one little patch of rhubarb, so half a pound of rhubarb. Squash. Last year was phenomenal for squash and zucchini. I'll get to zucchini in a minute. But 55.5 pounds of squash last year, which was too much squash for us. But we challenged this year, and we only grew 17 pounds of squash. In the end of the day, that's probably enough squash. Family prefers zucchini. Sunflower seeds. Grew some Mongolian sunflowers for the first time this year. We ended up with 2.5 pounds of sunflower seeds. Doesn't sound like much, but I will be snacking on sunflower seeds. I've roasted them myself. They turned out great. 2.5 pounds of sunflower seeds is going to last me a long, long time. So next year we'll probably plant another 8 to 10 sunflowers. They're the Mongolian ones, great big. Check out the video on those. Sweet potatoes. 26 pounds of sweet potatoes last year. 48.5 pounds this year. It's probably about right, 50 pounds, maybe 70 pounds next year. Tomatoes. 85.5 pounds of tomatoes last year. We had tomatoes coming out our ears last year. And they grew and they grew and they grew and they grew. This year, I planned on growing a ton of tomatoes, but I was challenged on the tomatoes. I don't know if it was the weather. It was way too wet in the spring, way too dry in the summer. But we only ended up with 65 pounds of tomatoes, which is not enough. Really like canning and making spaghetti sauce and chopped tomatoes, diced tomatoes. So next year, we want to get that 65 pounds up, somewhere in the 80, 90, 100 pounds of tomatoes, believe it or not. And then watermelon, 14 pounds this year, 1 pound last year. Not enough watermelon to really write home about. I tried to grow a lot more than that, but my watermelons didn't do great. And another thing that did absolutely horrible this year was zucchinis. Last year, 56 pounds of zucchinis. This year, 11.5 pounds of zucchini. Nowhere near enough zucchini. Try it again next year, but my plants just wouldn't stay alive for whatever reason. And that's about it for vegetables for this year. As you've heard, there were some successes and some challenges. Probably a little bit more on the success side than challenge side. My goal was to grow 50% more than I did last year. And the reason for that is I did some substantial garden expansions for this year. I did one more garden expansion, a small one, for next year. But last year we ended up with 487 pounds of vegetables. Now, if I wanted just to get pounds of vegetables, I'd just grow potatoes and pumpkins. But For comparison's sake, 487 pounds of vegetables last year. This year, we ended up with 680 pounds of vegetables. And next year, I'd like to up that to about 800 pounds of vegetables. Again, a lot more on the potato side, the onion side, the pepper side, and the tomato side. There's some things we're going to drop. I'll probably try growing something completely new as well, just to try it. Don't know what that'll be until next season. But that's a summary of our garden season 2025 here in Henry County, Kentucky, Zone 6B. And so that does it for another episode of Try New Things. Thanks for hanging out till the very end. It's time to pack up the camera, close up the gate for the final time till spring, which is sad. But we'll be back again next season, bigger and better than ever, hopefully, fingers crossed. Got any questions or comments about this episode or any of my episodes, as always, leave them down below. Really enjoy reading them and responding to them. If you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up if you would. Subscribe if you haven't. We'll see you in the very next video. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.